installment of this particular report, and my understanding is that it's probably going to be the largest as well in terms of the volume of work.
Yes, Colin, it's the largest because it deals with such a wide scope of work, and don't expect that it might be the last in terms of the volume physically, because we are told that we could be at least more extensions in terms of perhaps up to April, even in terms of the work that is needed to, deliver a full final report. What has disrupted, Justice Zondo in his work, and he said as much during the January release of the initial report, saying that he anticipated there could be a bit of, extensions needed, a bit of grace needed in terms of the work, in terms of it being finalized, because he was preparing for the JSC Judicial Services Commission interviews for the top job in South Africa, so that disrupted him slightly. But when we look at the scope of the work, looking very closely at one of the most explosive, topics when it comes to the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, which would be what happened in the Free State. Of course, Bosasa is also going to be in the mix, but when you're looking at the Free State asbestos saga that's now in front of the courts, where former Secretary General of the ANC, Mohlaoli, has a lot to answer for. He's trying to get that matter thrown out of court on various grounds, but that certainly is a lot that's going to be looked at there. It's not the only thing, because the Free State was rife with maladministration. We're also looking at housing tenders that were ballooned, some reaching over $1 billion. But services not delivered. We covered the stories out there. I went out and found that in some communities where recipients of low-cost housing are still sitting on slabs of concrete to this day, and others are still living beneath asbestos roofs. So
imagine that's total failure, but you count in there as well the element of potential corruption, because we can't definitively say there was corruption until, I suppose, the courts put finality into cases that are ongoing, such as that of Mohlaoli. But the other big names likely to get a mention will be that of the ANC's head of communications, Nomvula Mokonyane, and what are we talking about? Bosasa.
We're talking about Bosasa, and she also appeared before the Zondo Commission of Inquiry, and questions asked about her relationship with the Bosasa executives, things like, birthday parties that were thrown in her favor or in her honor, gifts that were lavished out, payments made for vehicles, security systems installed to her premises. This would certainly suggest that she had a more untoward relationship as was expected of her position. I think she was at the time also Water Affairs Minister, and before that also when she was in the Gauteng provincial government, a long-running relationship with Bosasa. And before the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, it must be said, Nomvula Mokonyane said that none of these particular gifts, if you would have it, impeded her in her work. But of course, she was pushed, saying that how can you separate yourself as an office bearer and someone who is tasked with ensuring that you keep your eyes on the purse of the government. But Bosasa seems to be getting favorable mentions or favorable recommendations or considerations when contracts come up to review, but at the same time you say that the presents have no link with that particular considerations. So a lot she had to answer to, and she put her best foot forward. We will wait to see how the commission thought of that, because as we know with other reports, they've been very firm in terms of who needs to be held account and who needs to face the might of the law.
Sure. Tumaole Mohlaoli, thank you very much for that quick update. That's in anticipation of the third report from the State Capture Commission. Might it be the last? We don't know yet. There is possible talk, as you hear Tumaole Mohlaoli saying, that there might be a final or a fourth report in this regard. But that's pure speculation.